Welcome indeed to Journalist Hangout Monday edition. Well, the last hasn't been heard about last week's invasion of the Abuja residence of Justice Odili of the Supreme Court. And following the invasion by some security operatives on Friday evening, no agency has claimed responsibility. As such, the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has given the federal government 48 hours to expose those behind the invasion of Justice Odili's residence. Governor Wike described it as an assassination attempt, saying that wasn't the first time the home of a Supreme Court justice will be attacked by unknown persons. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, has ordered an investigation into the matter. That's how we begin our discussions on Journalist Hangout today. Wale Adoye, what do you make of Friday night's happenings and where we are now?
Well, I think on a general note, the rule of law says that we are all equal before the law, irrespective of our status, whether you are the Chief Justice of the Federation or you are a cobbler. The security officers have the right to, any suspect can be interrogated or arrested. But in this case, I think it calls for a lot of suspicion, because if you look at the warrant that was sought by two people, one whistleblower, Umaru Aliyu, and then one CSP, Lawrence Ajodo, the whole thing looks so suspicious. And then also looking at the office was besieged. You know, a member of the Supreme Court, I think, is raising a lot of fundamental questions about the mission of those who carry out that assault. And I think it's not just an assault on the Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court. It's an assault on the judiciary. Because if you look at what the statement issued by the magistrate, Emmanuel Yana, he said it was misled. And the Minister of Justice also said the documents that, you know, they procured to seek a warrant, to obtain a warrant from the magistrate court, you know, the document is suspect. He said there's nothing like a joint panel recovery, that what they have is asset recovery and management unit. But they came under the banner of a joint panel recovery, which means they obtained false documents in order to seek a warrant. So I think this is quite worrisome, because the kernel principle of democracy is separation of powers. But when you now see that the judiciary is under constant assault, and don't also forget that in June, the passport, international passport of the former governor of Rivers State, you know, the woman's husband, was seized, and she had to go to court to, you know, to ensure that, you know, invalidated the order. So I think we are quite worried that under democracy, people don't have respect, you know, for basic elements of democratic rule. And it sounds so funny that the Ministry of Justice is denying that it has no knowledge. The IG is saying it's ordering investigation. And then, you know, there's a lot of a confusion. But the fact is that there is CSP that is involved, and also another person, Aliyu Umaru. These people must be acting as fronts for certain elements. So I think what has happened is it's an embarrassment to Nigeria. And I think we need to get to the root of the matter. I support the position of the governor of Rivers State on this issue, that Nigerians are waiting. We hope they are not going to sweep it under the carpet, because this is not the first time. It happened in 2016, when you start invading the private properties, residence of the Supreme Supreme Court judge. Then what is the fate of the ordinary man like us? So I think we are all worried about what has happened, and we hope that justice will be done at the end of the day.
All right. Well, that said, the controversy thickens when you hear reactions from many individuals over that invasion. It even goes on to say that the address on the affidavit is much different from the address that the operatives went to. But what runs through your mind, Paul?
Honestly, the whole thing is very, very confusing. It's even more confusing when you have the necessary authorities that should give us information denying that they didn't know anything about it. The AGF denied, the EFCC denied, the DSS denied, the police apparently or ostensibly doesn't know about it. But some people went with some documents And it seems like the documents were, if you look at the discrepancies and all of that, you know that well, somebody somewhere was doing a job for certain interest. And the operatives, the alleged operatives now, because even the report said policemen were part of those who were on site when the invasion was carried out. Whoever ordered that invasion, the people that carried out that invasion, must have been drunk on a special beer brewed and sold by demons from hell, because it's just an abnormal thing. It's just an abnormal thing. This is not something that is normal. And like he said, well, in as much as that there should not be sacred cows in the country, and I mean, everybody, there is a rule of law, equality before the law. Of course, judges are not protected from criminal prosecution and all of that. But if at all you have a case against a judge, there are ways to go about it. You don't go invade the house of a judge, Gestapo style. You must respect the separation of powers and all of that. Well, everybody is denying. IGP says he has ordered an investigation. We want to see the outcome of the investigation. We hope that there will be a convincing outcome of the investigation. I hope it's not something that we will just hear and then after a few months we don't remember anymore. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Because if it is true that the authorities, the EFCC, the AGF, the DSS, do not know anything about this, then whoever did it, a CSP's name has been mentioned. Who is he? Is he a serving police officer? Is he a fake?
We can start from there.
Exactly. Who is he? Now, if he's a serving police officer, then he should be able to explain who sent him. So we want to see heads rolling on account of this particular thing. And those heads must roll very fast.
All right. Well, this said CSP Ajodo, well, there are reports circulating as to, which agency or the federal government he was attached to. Some say, I have traced it to the AGF's office, that even AGF, Mr. Malami, the senior advocate himself, signed at the back of that ID card. But, what can be done to be sure that this is not like what had been done before? Recall in 2016 that even homes of justices of the Supreme Court were also raided, as well as other members of the federal judiciary. But, how do we at least, make sense of all that happened? Because as it is now, you both have said, and we all know, nobody has claimed responsibility yet. So how soon will we get to unraveling the truth?
Well, if the attack on her, was a political decision, then it's going to get more complicated, because there are speculations that, she is the second most senior jurist after the CJ. That after the retirement of, the current CJ, she is supposed to, and there are some forces that want to stop that from happening. So, and they see this as part of the, onslaught, part of the plot to ensure that, she does not eventually become the CJN. But I think we need to grow beyond all these sentiments. As a country that we expect African member states to learn from us, we need to set very good examples, not just for ourselves, but also for the international community. So I think there's just no justification for that assault on our privacy. There is no justification for the assault on the judiciary. And good enough, the CJ had expressed disappointment about what happened. So, and I think it shouldn't just be left for the government alone. Or every the civil society, the international community, the bar associations in West Africa, they must show interest. It's not just about her. It's about the future of democracy in Nigeria. Because it took us a long time, almost 27 years, to get to where we are, to remove tyranny and then have democracy. So if you cannot sustain that culture, it's really going to be very bad. And a lot of countries in Africa are looking up to us to imitate us as the giant of Africa, if we still meet up to that kind of definition. So I think, it's our responsibility to, even the media, This is why investigative journalists should be coming. People should unravel those that are actually behind this and expose them, so that Nigerians will know that there are some people behind this kind of shenanigans, and to ensure that those that are responsible are punished.
Okay, gentlemen, let me put you on hold to bring us up to speed with the breaking story that we're covering here in Lagos, and that's talking about the collapsed building, which we understand occurred on the Gerard Road in Ikoyi, the Ikoyi area of Lagos. TVC News, Ademola Lawrence is standing by for us with updates. Hello, Demola. So, what information do you have as to the cause of the building that collapsed, and bring us up to speed as well with the casualty figure?
Okay, Kemi, what I can tell you now is the fact that as of now, there is no official statement at which how many people are trapped under the building. No official statement here. When I spoke earlier, I said the National Emergency Management Agency is here, LASEMA is here, Lagos State Building Agency is also here. So for now, there's no official statement of how many people are actually trapped under the building. But what I can tell you is that so far, 2 people have been rescued, 2 are dead that I saw with my own eyes. So, but I can also tell you, as the excavator just came like 30 minutes ago, and of course, if you can see, they are already doing the job, trying to evacuate people who are trapped under the building, 21-story building for that matter. So a lot of them, of course, are trapped under the building. And of course, the deputy governor of the state is also here with some cabinet members. And of course, the relevant agencies that are supposed to do what they're supposed to do at this particular site are already here to make sure that things are a bit calm and everybody, whoever is under the building, is being rescued.
What do we know about the state of the structure, Demola? Was it an uncompleted building to justify the number of people who we understand are trapped? You've spoken to us about the state of the people, well, some of them, but what do we know about the structure itself and why the building had to collapse? Hello, Ademola Lawrence.
Okay, we don't know anything yet. We know why the building had to collapse. Like I said, all the relevant agencies that are supposed to. Yes, I can hear you. The commissioner of police just arrived with his team. No, so, like I was saying, we don't know what exactly happened, why the building had to collapse. But some persons that I spoke to earlier on, they said the building, it started something around past 2. And of course, they were trying to call all the relevant agencies to come down and rescue. So before the relevant agencies came here, the people were already doing some manual rescue themselves. So, but to ascertain what happened, why the building collapsed, like I said, there's a statement is not yet out until the relevant authorities give us the statement on why and what happened. Then we can be able to give you the true state of things. Yeah.
Absolutely, indeed. Information is very necessary at this point, accurate information. That will be all for now. Demola Lawrence will standing by for us in Gerard Avenue in the Ikoyi area of Lagos here with updates on the reports of a collapsed building. We'll get back to him for updates. In the meantime, back to our discussion here on Journalists Hangout on TVC News. Well, Paul Dada, there are also speculations as to whether the invasion of Justice Odili's residence could have been a honest mistake. If it was, where's the apology from whoever, and whether it was, deliberate, targeting her and or her husband?
It couldn't have been an honest mistake because the persons behind it went all the way to get documents, to get warrants. A magistrate says, the magistrate claims, the magistrate said, I was misled to issue the warrant. So it's something that was orchestrated by...
But let me interrupt you. You heard Michael Zekome, the learned senior advocate, who said there was no name of the owner of the residence of number 9 Imo Street in Abuja, but they went to number 7 Imo River Street. So there seems to have been a discrepancy even in the court papers.
That's what we are saying. That's what these are the things that make everything suspect. And I think there must be serious pressure on the investigative authorities to do something right. We must mount pressure here. And every stakeholder must mount pressure, because if we don't get to the root of this, the conspiracy theory that is being fueled will continue. You understand that? Okay, she's the next in rank to the CGN. Maybe they don't want her. Already there are ethnic sentiments thinking that, okay, maybe they don't want a southerner to become a CJN, and all of that normally in our country, this is the kind of thing you get when things are not so clear. So there should not be any easy investigation. Whatever is done, let's be clear. Let it be clear. No obfuscation of the facts. So if we get to the bottom of it, if the investigative authorities are very sincere, we'll get to the bottom of it, and then we'll know what really happened, and then we know those who are going to be prosecuted. Because if you mislead the magistrate into giving a warrant, or if you forge documents and all of that, you know that those are very serious criminal offenses, and of course, those people must be prosecuted. If some of them are, if they are truly members of, if they are truly in the law enforcement agencies, of course, they are to lose their jobs, and then they are to serve prison terms. There's
also talk about, the need to tighten administrative supervisory control over these law enforcement bodies, as we have seen played out. It was said to be a joint task force by several agencies, but as it is now, the AGF has disowned them, even though it was initially thought that they came from the AGF's office. So this is also part of the implications that many have also wondered at, as in how can people, we even have a name, we have a CSP, and then nobody can actually trace who sent him to do what he did.
Well, I hope we are not, we are not dealing with unknown government, because this is a very serious issue, and the FCC denied they were not, involved, even though some claim their official operators were there, the police, the same thing. So who are these people? Does it mean anybody can just put on, uniform and then invade the home of the chief judge, of a member of the Supreme Court? So it makes Nigeria a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. And even when the magistrate was saying that he was, misled, I mean, somebody of this status, a member of the Supreme Court, you should have been a bit diligent in trying to investigate that, the paper that was presented, the documents presented to you. So for you to have issued that warrant to go and invade her house, I think is suspicious. I don't think she acted in good faith, because that a member of the Supreme Court, and then they have come with papers, you should have been a kind of restrained, instead of not coming out later to say that you are misled. You should have been a little bit cautious before granting that kind of request. So I think the whole world is watching, and but knowing the people, the country that we are, like he said, this issue may be swept under the carpet. In fact, they can come up with another more deadly plot if they are, these are very deviant people, and they are very consistent. They are when they want to carry out an agenda, they have done this one that's failed. Just wait in the next few weeks, you see what they're going to come up with. So they should know that, you see, it's an ill wind that blows no one any good.
All right,
if you want to destroy
let me interrupt you. Allow me, please. Let's bring in our very first caller, Onyeka from Enugu State. Good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening. The woman is orchestrated. You understand? There's no one thing to do. Then they want to tie her down before her time. These Hausa people know what they're doing. You understand? Look at what they did to the other.
All right, I'm sure we had a glitch there, because I couldn't even make out you know, what you were saying. If you can reconnect, please do.
But I think it's important our callers are very careful what they say. You don't start saying these Hausa people. You are not sure. It's not a fact. You don't know for a fact. You don't know but this is the kind of thing we are saying, that people will continue to come up with all kinds of theories, sometimes out of biases, out of their biases out of bias for an ethnic group. You understand? You don't stereotype an ethnic group because this kind of thing is happening. Just deal with the facts. But what I want to say is that it is possible that this was a rogue mission, truly. You understand? Because it is not new. We've had this kind of thing happening. We've had, even at a very small level, we've seen policemen or even soldiers going out of their own, you know, going on their own to do whatever, going on illegal emissions. I have an example. Where I worked, I used to have a reporter that I sent to do a story. But the story became a police case. It became a police case, and the police got him arrested. And we waded into it. Later, the IPO told me, said, okay, look, we're just trying to sort out the issue. Then, as the police had assured us they were sorting out the issue, then there was this female soldier that just came up from nowhere and said, you must come. No, this thing is not settled. You know, she went out of her and she was threatening. She was seriously threatening. Now, if this woman had carried out whatever sinister motive she had, perhaps the authorities, our bosses, would have probably said, no, we know nothing about it. This kind of thing happens. It now shows that the authorities need to exert better control over the personnel, if at all it was a rogue mission. If at all if the AGF and the other agencies are to be believed. You understand? Because, of course, I don't readily believe them. I don't readily believe them. So until we see the outcome of the investigation, then we know what to make out of it. But I'm just saying that there's also a possibility that it was a rogue mission.
We have another caller, Victor Usman. Welcome, all the way from Jos.
From Jos.
You're welcome. Carry on, please.
Good evening to the gentleman in the studio.
Good evening.
I was following with rapt attention about the story of Justice Odili's residence invasion in Port Harcourt. But my take is this. I really do not understand what kind of country we have at the moment. I really do not understand what kind of country we are running at the moment. If there's a problem, or if there's a problem with Justice Odili, I expected that by now that a proper paper should have been dished out, stating exactly what she has done, and not just going into a house, without proper papers, trying to get her out of the place. So at this point, I don't understand why we still do things as if we are not democratic people. So this is just my take.
All right.
I wish everybody well.
All right. Thank you very much. Before we go on a break, Wale Adeoye, looking at the bigger picture to all of this, what is the way forward? I know you've already established at the onset that our judicial officers are not sacred cows, in other words, but then they also have a crucial role to play in the role of law business. So how is it a matter of intelligence? If they had known that you were actually coming, that is, if there was no mistake, if they had known they were coming to the residence of a sitting Supreme Court justice, could there have been a better approach, to dealing with it? If they had good reports or good information. If
you all over the world, when judges are found to be operating below the bar of law, there are processes, legitimate processes. You come up with this information and then you take the legal process and then you can do it in a way that will be transparent and that will convince Nigerians that what you are doing is right. And you shouldn't just wait until that person becomes a member of the Supreme Court. There must be a monitoring process so that from the magistrate court to the high court, if a judge is not expected to assume the position of the Supreme Court, there must be a process that will have stopped such a person. But when you are not trying to put the bar, when people expect certain, probably she's going to be, to be promoted, and then there's going to be a lot of prejudices. All
right, gentlemen, we'll put our discussions on hold and wait to see what the coming days would offer in making sense of these controversies and proffering the needed answers. You're watching Journalist Hangout. We have more in a moment. Please stay with us.